Good morning, this is Danae London with the Acadian Garden and Apothecary, and welcome to the first video of a new series called Food as Medicine. If you are already familiar with this channel, then you know that it's my goal to help you start a garden, learn about healing herbs, and live a life that's close to nature. Throughout human history, we have discovered new ways to use herbs, those little alchemists growing right outside your door, to supplement our body's nutritional needs. Well, just in time for Thanksgiving, we will be exploring more reasons to be grateful for what grows in our gardens by talking about the importance of what you eat and how those foods can make all the difference in your health and in your well-being. Now, this series will be unlike many discussions that you've seen about superfoods, in that we will be focusing on local nutrition. That is, superfoods that don't need to be imported from faraway locations and can be grown right in your backyard or sourced from a small local farmer. And besides ease of access and nutrition, these foods are also super for another practical reason. The foods in this series will be easy to put up for long-term storage without freeze drying, refrigeration, or even pressure canning. If you have the ability to boil water, then you have the ability to put these foods in your pantry. Now let's get started with our very first superfood, and that is fermented cabbage, or what is commonly known as sauerkraut. Now, we can hardly begin a conversation about sauerkraut without first talking about fermentation. So what is fermentation? At its most basic, fermentation is the conversion of sugars into acids or alcohols. Humans have fermented foods as far back as 10,000 BCE. Fermentation is responsible for yogurt, buttermilk, cheeses, kefir, and sour cream, as well as alcoholic drinks like wine, mead, and sake. Fermentation is even used to produce kombucha, which is a mixture of tea leaves, sugar, bacteria, and yeast ferments. So how is it that fermentation has such a rich and lengthy history? The two most obvious reasons that stand out to me is that fermentation can be used to preserve nutrient-rich foods without the use of modern food preservation tools. This is because lactic acid bacteria, the bacteria responsible for the fermentation process, converts sugars into acids. Acidic environments help to prevent the formation of mold and harmful bacteria like the ones that cause botulism. This is why most acidic foods can be preserved only using water bath canning versus pressure canning. Secondly, fermented foods are extremely good for you. Lactic acid bacteria can produce compounds like certain peptides and conjugated linoleic acids that help to lower blood pressure and contain other compounds that are antifungal, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and even anti-diabetic. To ferment any vegetable, you will need water, nutrients, salt, and the absence of air, as the bacteria that produces the acidic compounds are anaerobic, meaning that they thrive in environments free of oxygen. Today, I will be showing you how I make my sauerkraut with only 2 ingredients, cabbage and salt. You can use cabbage from your garden or buy one fresh from the store. The process of making sauerkraut is incredibly simple. First, you're going to take your cabbage and shred it into very fine pieces. Add your shredded cabbage to a large mixing bowl and add 2 to 4 teaspoons of salt, depending on whether your cabbage is medium or large. Also, make sure that you're using a kosher or natural salt that does not contain iodine, as iodine can mess with the fermentation process. So once you've added your shredded cabbage and your salt to your mixing bowl, you're ready to get your hands dirty. This next step is a bit labor intensive and it does take some time, but basically what you're going to do is squeeze the cabbage with your bare hands, breaking the cell walls in the cabbage and releasing the liquid that's inside. You're going to keep doing this until all of your cabbage is wilted and there's water collecting at the bottom of your bowl. A little pro tip, the finer you shred your cabbage, the less time this process will take. Traditionally, ferments were made in a stoneware fermentation crock, but I haven't been able to find any of those in any of the home goods stores I visited in the state of Maine. However, I was able to find mason jar fermentation kits at a local Walmart. So at Walmart, you can get a quart jar, lid, spring, and pickling salt for about $12, and that's your complete fermentation kit. Or if you already have some of your own wide mouth quart jars, you can buy 2 lids and springs for $9. This may be a good option for you as well. I make my sauerkraut about 4 quarts at a time so that I'm always filling the water bath canner and using my time efficiently. 4 quarts is about 2 medium to large cabbages. So once your cabbage is shredded and it has been wilted and broken down, you're ready to start adding it to your quart jars. Make sure your quart jars are clean, of course, first, and then you're going to pack it in about 1 inch to the top. And after this, you're going to take the spring on your mason jar fermentation kit and use it to press the cabbage down. The goal is to have the cabbage firmly pressed down and completely submerged in its own cabbage water. Remember that the lactic acid bacteria that's naturally present in cabbage is anaerobic, meaning that if we fully submerge the cabbage, we are creating the optimal environment for fermentation to begin. Now that your cabbage is packed into your fermentation pot or jar, put it away in a cool, dark environment for about 2 weeks. Check on your ferment daily to make sure that the cabbage stays submerged. Anywhere the cabbage is not submerged, you will likely see mold beginning to form. Simply remove the moldy pieces from your ferment as needed. When your sauerkraut is ready, you will want to do a water bath canning to make it shelf stable. I like to transfer the sauerkraut to clean quart jars and follow the basic principles of safe canning to prepare it for a water bath. What's great about homemade sauerkraut is that it is usually more mild than store-bought. So store-bought often has a very strong vinegar taste, making the kraut better as a condiment rather than as a mealtime staple. Homemade sauerkraut, however, is great for stews and as a side dish with potatoes and brats or sausage. I love to use sauerkraut as a filler for soups and stews, and we usually have it this way 3 to 4 times a month. If you have any sauerkraut recipes that you would like to recommend, please share them in the comments below. So let's review. Lactic acid ferments like sauerkraut are amazing for gut health by aiding in the breakdown of important nutrients and compounds into forms that we can easily digest. The cabbage in sauerkraut is also chock full of vitamins and minerals. Sauerkraut can be preserved using water bath canning and be shelf stable for years. This food has it all and can be easily grown in most climates, so add this to your garden for a healthier gut and a happier you. This is Danae London with the Acadian Garden and Apothecary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more videos all about gardening, herbal remedies, and sustainable living. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.